Food should bring joy, not sadness. Beware, for there is magic that weighs heavy on the heart. You must stop before the spirits come for you. Once upon a time, in a small village called Sawyer, there lived a woman named Oo. Oo was known all over the village for her delicious food. People came from far and wide just to taste her dishes. She made tasty jollof rice, spicy pepper soup, and sweet plantains. Everyone who ate her food would smile with joy. But there was something strange about Oo's cooking. It was not just the flavor that made her food special. Oo had a secret, a big secret. She used juju, a kind of magic in her cooking. This magic made people want to fight each other for her food. The village of Nia was a peaceful place, but Oo's food changed that. People would argue, shout, and even push each other just to get a plate of her meals. "Give me that food!" one would shout. "No, I want it!" another would yell. They were ready to do anything for a taste of her dishes. Oo knew that her juju was strong. Every time someone ate her food, she felt a surge of power. It was like a warm light filling her body. The more people fought for her food, the stronger she became. She smiled when she saw the villagers quarreling. Their anger gave her strength. But as Oo grew stronger, a dark shadow loomed over the village. Once a month, someone would die in Sawyer. It was a sad time for the villagers, and they did not know why it was happening. They mourned and cried, wondering who would be the next to go. Oo kept her secret close. She knew that the deaths were linked to her power. For every person who ate her food, she became stronger. But it came with a price. A life was taken from the village each month, and Oo was at the center of it all. One day, Oo decided to hold a big feast for the village. She wanted to show off her skills and make even more people come to her. She prepared a huge pot of her famous jollof rice, added spicy chicken, and made sweet plantains. The aroma filled the air, and soon the villagers could smell it. News spread quickly, and the villagers gathered in front of Oo's house, eager to taste her food. They pushed and shoved, each person wanting to be the first in line. Oo laughed quietly to herself. "Let them fight," she thought. "I will grow even stronger." As the feast started, everyone was excited. Oo served the food and the villagers filled their plates. They ate and ate until they could eat no more. Laughter and shouts filled the air, but soon the laughter turned to anger. "You took my food!" one man yelled at another. A fight broke out, and Oo watched with joy. But that night, as the moon shone bright, the village faced another death. A young man named Kofi was found lying lifeless outside his home. The villagers were heartbroken. They could not understand why such sad things were happening after such a joyful feast. As Kofi's funeral took place, the village was filled with sorrow. Oo stood to the side, feeling a mix of emotions, sadness for the boy and strength from his death. She knew she had to keep her secret safe. If the villagers found out, they would never eat her food again. The thought scared her. The village elders decided to search for the reason behind these deaths. They spoke to the old women, the wise men, and gathered stories. Many whispers filled the air. "Maybe it is the juju in Oo's food," someone murmured. "She put something in the food," another said. Oo heard the rumors. Fear gripped her heart. What if they found out the truth? What if they turned against her? She had to act fast. She decided to spread a new rumor to distract them. "Have you heard about the spirits in the forest?" she asked one villager. "They say they take people's lives." The villagers began to focus on the forest, believing that the spirits were to blame. Meanwhile, Oo continued to cook, feeling stronger each time someone fell for her food. One day, an old woman named Nia came to the village. She was a wise healer known for her knowledge of juju. People respected her, and they listened to her. Nia heard about Oo's food and the deaths in the village. She was worried and decided to seek out Oo. Nia visited Oo's home. "My child," she said, "I have heard stories of your food. People say it's magical, but there are dark clouds hanging over the village." Oo's heart raced. What if Memnea found out everything? No, Memnea, Oo replied. "It is just good food. I do not know about any dark clouds." She smiled sweetly, hiding her fear. Mama Nea narrowed her eyes. "Food should bring joy, not sadness. Beware, for there is magic that weighs heavy on the heart. You must stop before the spirits come for you." U felt a chill run down her spine. The villagers were already offering sacrifices to the spirits. She knew she had to do something to protect herself. U planned another feast to celebrate the harvest. She wanted to keep the villagers from thinking too much about the deaths. She increased the juju in her food, knowing that she needed to be stronger. As the village prepared for the feast, U could feel the excitement in the air. On the day of the feast, the villagers arrived with joy. They danced and sang, grateful for the food which U prepared. But as soon as they began to eat, the fighting started again. "You are taking my food." "No, you are eating too fast." Voices were raised, and soon fists were flying. U smiled as she watched the chaos unfold. She felt herself growing stronger. But as the moon rose high that night, the village faced another loss. An old woman who had cared for the villagers, Mama Ida, was found dead in her home. The villagers were confused and scared. Why did more people have to die? The village was now divided. Some believed Uhu was the cause of their troubles. Others still loved her food and wanted to eat it no matter what. The elders gathered to make a decision. "We must confront Uhu," they said. "She must tell us what is happening." But Uhu had other plans. She decided to use more juju, mixing it with her food to keep people eating and fighting. She thought, "If they want my food, they will never think of me as the curse." The villagers came to her with hungry stomachs and angry hearts. U watched them, ready to fight again. But this time her heart was filled with worry. What if someone found out? What if she got caught? As the days went by, more people fell ill. Something was wrong. U could feel that her strength was fading. The juju was becoming too much. She could sense the spirits dancing around her, whispering secrets she did not understand. One rainy afternoon, a young girl named Chica came to U. She was curious and brave, unlike others. Chica had observed U closely. She was not afraid of her. "Why do you make people fight for your food?" Chica asked. As the source of their suffering, while others argued wholeheartedly that her food was too delicious to resist, many were torn between their faith in U's cooking and the growing fear of the mysterious deaths. Meanwhile, U reveled in her increasing power, unaware of the whispers turning into shouts. One evening, as the sun dipped below the trees, the villagers held a meeting, heartbroken over the losses. They gathered in the village square to discuss U's food and the chain of tragedies stemming from her feast. Elder Osa stood at the forefront, his voice shaking with emotion. "We must protect our village. How many more lives will be lost?" U watched from the edge of the crowd, her heart racing. She felt cornered. If only Kofi and the others had never eaten her food, they would still be alive. The guilt washed over her like a cold tide. Yet a part of her whispered that she was not to blame. It was the villagers who fought for her dishes. Amidst the gathering, Mnea returned. "You must seek out a way to break the juju's hold before it consumes not just your villagers, but you as well." U returned home, feeling the weight of Mama's words. That night she sat in her kitchen, surrounded by her bubbling pots and fragrant spices. As she stirred the rice, a realization dawned upon her. The juju didn't just feed her power, it corrupted the very essence of her cooking. She wanted to bring people together, not tear them apart. Determined to change, U decided to invite the villagers to her home for a new kind of feast, a feast without juju. The next morning, she sent out messages beckoning everyone to join her with the promise of the most wholesome meal yet. On the day of the feast, the villagers arrived cautiously, their faces a mix of curiosity and skepticism. They were hesitant to trust U again, but as they entered her home, they were greeted by the warm aroma of a different kind of jollof rice, prepared without juju, just love and care. As they ate together, the passion of cooking shone through. The laughter returned, not forced by anger, but by genuine joy. There were no fights or shouting. Instead, stories were shared and bonds were strengthened. U saw smiles on faces that had once been twisted in envy. Feeling lighter, a gentle warmth enveloped her. U stood up. "Dear friends, I have decided to rid my food of juju. I want our village to thrive in happiness, not despair. From this day forth, let us celebrate together." Elder Osa slowly approached, tears in his eyes. "You have a gift, U, and it is better with kindness than with power. Thank you for helping us find our way back." As the night wore on, something extraordinary happened. The next morning, the villagers awoke to an unusual stillness. No cries of anguish pierced the dawn. Instead, the sun rose on a renewed Sawyer. They felt the loss of their loved ones deeply, but together they began to heal. Mama Nea watched from a distance, her heart swelling with pride as she observed the villagers coming together. U's choice to embrace a more compassionate path not only freed her from the burden of juju, but reignited a sense of community that had long been lost with time. The village of Nia became stronger, a symbol of resilience and unity. U's food transformed from a means of conflict into a catalyst for joy, bringing life and laughter back to the villagers. They celebrated their successes, healed their hearts, and honored the memories of those they had lost. Though the shadow of the past lingered, it was now filled with lessons learned and friendships forged tighter than ever. U discovered that true magic lay not in the juju she wielded, but in the hearts she nourished. As life in Sawyer flourished, U smiled with newfound wisdom, knowing that while food could bring people together, it was love, empathy, and understanding that truly fed the soul. The villagers gathered around her often, feasting not just on delicious meals, but on stories, laughter, and the warmth of community, a testament to the healing power of unity. And so, the tale of U and the secret of the juju food became legend, a reminder that true strength lies within the bonds we cultivate with each other, not in the power we hold alone.